My son, my name Lewis, is 10 years old.
Can you pull them? Yeah.
My son, Lionel Lewis, is 10 years old. He goes to Pasco Elementary School. I do, and I don't want to send him to school anymore. I fear his life while he is in school. And since he has been attending, he has been bullied and no one has stood up for him. He has been targeted. By multiple teachers and labeled as trouble. Lionel is diagnosed with autism, and the school has had his diagnosis since he's been enrolled, but they have failed to properly place him in his correct classrooms. As a young boy with autism, he suffered from a level with sounds are too loud and lights are too bright. My son has had the police called on him because of false, unfound, and unproved allegations. He has been punished over hearsay punishment that have had lasting impression on his mental and emotional well-being. My son I have an educational plan for my son. I want him to be homeschooled, but for me to do that, I need an IEP for him so that he can continue to get adequate, reasonable for his education. An IEP will allow me to open up an homeschooling program with funding. With this funding, I can give him an environment that he learns best in. The school has threatened to contact DCF on me because I want to keep him home where he is safe from being treated as a criminal for his diagnosis. I'm asking for Pasco County School Board to open up an official investigation into how my son has been handled, and that his records and all of the things that they tell me that I cannot know about my son be revealed, and for me to be brought to light.
Thank you. Mr. Browning, can you please follow up on that?
I think it already has, but yes, ma'am.
Candace, he says that they'll be following up on that. Oh, thank you. Candace L. Smith.
Pasco County for 6 years. I never enrolled my sons in Pasco County schools. However, my older two sons were enrolled in public schools in Broward, Hillsborough, and Duval County. My 19-year-old son is autistic, and he's been diagnosed since he was 3 years old. I accompanied Dejanay, who just left out, Minifield, to her first IEP meeting at Lionel School, which is her son. I've been to several IEP meetings in several counties. At the least, there's been 3 attendees. At the most, there's been 6. When I walked in the room with Ms. Minifield that day, there were 3 to 4 tables filled with women, and then there still wasn't enough seats for everyone that was in the room. Most of these women didn't even speak the entire time. What was their purpose for being there to witness and discuss sensitive information about her son, Lionel? This was an intimidation tactic that is used against vulnerable parents that come to these meetings to get a clear understanding of what's happening with their children and how they can help them. These women, such as Ms. Minifield, the educators, speak in a jargon that she doesn't understand. They speak loudly and over her head, and the room gets silent when it's time for her to speak, and nothing is explained well enough. But time was limited, and there was so much to do. In spite of all of that, Dejanay Minifield was able to still let them know what her plan was for Lionel. The events of that meeting should be investigated, as well as the incidents regarding Lionel's disciplinary actions needs to be reviewed. He came into that school with a diagnosis of autism. He has yet to be placed in a class that helps him to be the best student that he can be, and he's been disciplined, referral after referral, suspension, sent into a Zen den that he himself called a prison cell. And he's in elementary school. He joined that school, she enrolled him last year. This should not be. And so that's what we're coming to ask for, an investigation be opened up into all of these incidents, because I've sat with him, I recorded his personal testimony, which we can give. He's not on the camera, but you hear his voice, and to hear him speak about what he experienced, you will be changed.
Thank you.
Resistance against discrimination and social injustice, assisting Dee Lewis in getting to the truth of incidents involving her son Lionel when he was a third grader at Gulfside Elementary School earlier this year. The last time CATSE assisted African American parents in getting justice for their school child was in 2017. The parents were Daryl and Latricia Stevenson, and their son is Nasser Stevenson. At that time, he was a kindergartner, falsely accused of criminal behavior. While the parents of the child making the accusation were informed, Daryl and Trish learned of the allegation only after Nasser was cross-examined for hours without his parents present, and Pasco County deputies and a child protection investigator knocked on their door. The results of them filing a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights was the conclusion that Pasco schools and the private school Nasser attended denied him his civil rights as a child of color and a male. The school district agreed to implement procedures to ensure a similar incident like that does not occur again. But it has. Again, an African-American parent only found out about 2 allegations of assaults by a Pasco security officer on her child from the child. Her child was falsely accused of a serious crime. The principal and staff at Gulfside Elementary failed to provide information to the parent, as did the head of security. Efforts on several occasions, including a Florida Statute 119 request, were ignored. So now, in addition to serious allegations of a child being physically assaulted by a school security officer, we have what appears to be a cover-up on several levels by the school's leadership. Dee needs to be given all reports in all forms regarding the incidents that occurred to Lionel immediately. If the school continues to stonewall, I will assist her in filing a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights, with the American Civil Liberties Union, and with the National Action Network, as well as the NAACP. I will help her to seek legal representation and ensure that the public is informed of what she's being put through.
Thank you. Marlo Jones?
I don't have to state my address for the record because it's protected, but I did give it to you guys. I'm here today. I actually organized this action today with Ms. Mansfield. It's disturbing, the things that we're hearing. I've been working with the family for several months, and it's sad that I have to drive all the way down here, take time out of my day to come address these issues with you all. Some of these issues you have already heard about, as Mr. Browning said earlier. They might already know of these issues, but when you have an autistic child, we already know that they need special help. We're anticipating that when we send them to school that they're going to get that help they need. This child has not gotten the help he needs. Not only is he not getting the help, he's being discriminated against. A young black child, a gun being pulled on him in school by the resource officer or the security officer. I'm appalled. And all of you should be too, because what if that was your child? And then further instances of him getting beat up and coming home with bruises and nobody from the school letting the parents know. It's sad. I've lived in this county all my life. My family's lived here for 100 years. I went to Pasco County Schools, and the reason I'm here because I felt exactly how Lionel felt when I was a child at Pasco Middle School. When I was predominantly the largest black family at that school. When the teachers at that school and the resource officers at that school pulled me out of class, showed me mugshots of black people I've never seen in my life. That happened to me at Pasco Middle School in 2005. I don't know if Ms. Ferrantino was here or who, but some of you were on this board. Not all of you, but some of you. But that happened to me. I spoke about it here in this room. And ever since then, I've been an advocate for children of color, not just children of color, but all children who have been oppressed or who are being victimized. This must stop. I call for an investigation with this family, and I hope whatever you can do needs to be done. Whoever is in charge of that school, something needs to be done. An investigation needs to be done, and it needs to be publicly talked about with the family. We can't have kids. This child is scared to go to school. He's scared. And then this principal or whoever at that school is threatening DCF on this family. They're not giving up the information. If my child was attacked in school, I want to see all the videos. If my kid is being treated like this, I want to see all the facts. Why is this school hiding the facts? This should not be happening. If we care about all these children, we have to do better.
Thank you.
We're here in support of the Mansfield family, Dee and Lionel and her daughter. We're here to support her and to call for an investigation into things that have been happening at middle school and the elementary school that her kids attend. And we're standing in solidarity, and we're trying to help her get some answers because things are falling on deaf ears, and we want to show our support in the community, and we want to show that we're here to support and help them get justice, because what happened to her son and her daughter is very alarming, and every parent should be alarmed. So we're just here, I'm here representing Faith in Florida as a community organizer, and I'm just glad that everybody could come together because this is what it's like. This is what we need. We need more community unity.
Well, it's deja vu all over again. As I mentioned in there, this is not the first time it's happened. And secondly, when it happened that time, the school was sanctioned. There were requirements put on them to make sure this didn't happen again, and here we are, it's happened again. So apparently there's a problem with the school district dealing with people of color, and this has to change. And it has to change now before some other child and some other family is affected.
Dee's question was, and my question as well, but Dee's question, or his question to Dee actually was, can you kind of give me an explanation of what happened and so on and so forth. And then the other young lady came out to basically take notes or whatever, but she also pulled up her son's information in the system and was like, well, we see some referrals. We can't really go into detail because we don't know everything. So Dee gave them a little explanation of what was going on. And then, of course, I interceded and added in the stuff that Dee didn't add, which is like most important, like him being locked in the Zendesk. He was put in jail, and then you guys said that the jail didn't exist inside of the school. He's battered. He comes home with bruises, bust lips, knots on his head. He didn't make those up. He didn't do it to himself. But the school is saying, and the staff at the school are all in cahoots, stating this never happened. We don't know what happened to him. He has a vivid imagination. Well, his imagination didn't make a bruise on him. His imagination didn't bust his lip. His imagination didn't put him in a Zendesk that did not exist, apparently, until now. Oh, all of a sudden it is something that is real. However, I feel as though if we can keep you quiet and satisfy you enough to make it go away,
There you go.
it can go. But if you keep pushing, now we have to, okay, well, maybe it does exist. We just don't use it. You understand what I'm saying? Like now it's a facade. Oh my God, no. Oh yeah, it was there. It just, we never use that thing. You understand what I'm saying? So, and then we went into, she talked a little bit more about them not communicating with her. They're not telling her anything. They're not saying anything to her. They're not giving her any updates. She doesn't find out that anything took place until he's home. And you can visibly see something has happened. So then when you wait for the school to communicate or tell you what's going on, and like I explained to her and to them while we were out here, when he's at school, she's not his guardian. This is law. It's fact. When he's at school, you're not his guardian. So what's gonna happen with me keeping my child home? Oh, well, it's gonna be truancy. He's missing days of school. He's not being in school, so we're gonna call DCF. But when he's in your care, nobody can call DCF on you and say that you're abusing him. But if I do, nothing is gonna be done because, oh, he's at school. We're his guardian when he's at school. You understand what I'm saying? So the law is so conflicted. It's just a bunch of crap is what it is. And it's like enough is enough. So yeah, and I asked them, well, when are you guys gonna follow up? Because so many open promises. Yeah, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z when.
Yeah, right.
Can we find out when? So tomorrow they're supposed to follow up with her.
Okay.
And the follow up after that needs to be, well, when will we be able to sit down and really come to understanding of what's going to happen?
Right.
He said we can put a safety plan in place. Well, you putting a safety plan in place with the people that have caused the problem is not, so.
Yeah, how about let's do the investigation and figure out what happened.
And then I asked, is it possible that he can be homeschooled until, or that you guys can put him in virtual school so he can still get his education until we come to a resolve? Well, have you talked to the principal? Yeah, I spoke with the principal, but the principal is only calling me saying, after the fact, saying, well, yeah, you're kind of delusional and he's just making up stuff. And then when I'm pushing and looking for more to happen, then it's like, oh, well, yeah, let's sit down and talk. But even she stated when they went to the meeting at the school, he said, well, did you speak to the teacher? They didn't even want to look at me. They did not want to address anything with me. But the problem is, if your story was, if what you were saying is the truth, you would have no problem stating these are the facts. But you don't want to lie because you can't remember that. You're not going to be able to retell that same lie the exact way.
You're making me feel like Andrew when I was in the courtroom and he caught the officer in the lie. He told him that.
You can't retell the fake story the same way because it did not happen. It does not exist. I don't care how vivid of an imagination you have. It did not happen. You will not be able to recant a lie. It does not happen. But they make it like, and then I told him, like, honestly, it's a color thing, and I don't want to make it that, but this is what it is. And no, yes, we should suppress things, and we should not go over and put that into perspective, but this is exactly what the problem is. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm pushing that as the agenda, but baby,
that's where we are.
This is where we are.
Right.
All of the staff are saying this kid is delusional, but he's beat up coming home.
Every day.
He's locked in a jail cell at school that did not exist, and now all of a sudden, oh yeah, it does exist. We just don't use it.
Don't use it.
There
you go, telling parents you're putting their kids in this dark room,
especially without a phone call.
Especially a child that has disabilities already.
Is
that even, like, what would the psychologist think of that? That's torture. That's a form of psychological torture. It's like
the school cop gets to beat up on the kids twice.
And then nobody does nothing. And then they all.
To be honest, I don't really feel like we got anything resolved. To be honest, I just feel like they just was doing their jobs. I don't feel like they really are genuinely concerned about what's going on in the school board, what's really going on with my child, and they're just basically doing their job, just taking reports. But I don't feel like they're going to actually look into it based off demeanor, and they didn't ask any real question. They didn't ask what my concerns for my son. They didn't ask no questions for me. They didn't show genuine care, anything about what's going on in the school. They didn't really ask no concerns about my child. They didn't ask anything about safety. They didn't show no real concern about what was going on. They didn't even ask how I felt about the issue at hand. None of it. I hope that he can get his IEP approved as soon as possible so I can homeschool him. And honestly, I just want the people that did what they did to be held accountable. Because I don't want this, like, it shouldn't have to continue. Because if it's not my child, it would happen to another child. And I just want to think it's not okay. They can do this to a child and think that they can get away with it.
Right.
So my son can't be here to speak for himself, but I'm going to speak for him.
No, the guy, the other.